Hey guys, what is up? It is All Real here, and I'm showing some old airsoft gameplay, but basically today I'm going to be doing something a lot different, which of course is my first top 3 countdown. Now, when I was getting into airsoft, basically there were a bunch of airsoft products that you don't buy and you do buy, and today we're going to be talking about 3, I guess, brands that you should never buy. So let's jump right into it. 3. So the first brand I'm going to be talking about is Well. It's a Chinese company that's been in the game for a little while, and overall, I've actually owned a bunch of Well products, and I would not recommend them. And here's why. Now, the first thing is the price. The prices are, reasonable. They're about $100 to $150. They mainly focus on pistols and sniper rifles. They have a couple sniper rifles. They mainly have L96s, and they have a couple JG Bar 10 knockoffs, which I've actually owned, and the JG Bar 10 knockoff is the only gun that I would recommend by Well. They have made a couple AEGs, but overall they're very just disgusting to look at. They're very big eyesores. As you can see in this picture, it's made out of cheap polymer, and it's your basic package. Now, I actually have owned a couple of their revolvers as well, and they are just overall horrible. The first day I got it, it actually broke, and the chamber snapped off. So we're going to now talk about a different one. Number 2. Now I'm going to be talking about HFC. HFC is also a Chinese company that's actually been around for a while. It's in major competition with someone like KJW and just some of the other Japanese brands. Now this one I actually can't say I've tried, but I have seen a bunch of reviews on them, and I was actually going to buy a couple, and I didn't because overall this brand is very poorly recommended, I guess I could say. And here's why. So the first thing is they focus mainly on all pistols. They have 2 rifles, which is one a custom, very cheesy looking $70 fake wood Mauser sniper, and then the other one is a cheap polymer. I guess you could say it's like a Well L96 that I own, which, getting back to Well, that actually broke, no joke, right after I did my review on it. Not even kidding. But getting back on track, the problem with them is they have basically, cheap pistols, but they have a lot of common gas blowback problems. I'm sorry. But basically, a lot of their mags will leak, they'll have slide issues, or overall, they'll just not work. And I know the metal that they use is a common, very, crappy pot metal, I think it's called, or just a basic aluminum, which there's nothing wrong with aluminum, but the problem with that pot metal is it just snaps. And, when you have a gas blowback, there is a lot of tension, so there are a lot of problems where the stock, or not the stock, but the slide could just fly off. So for that one, honestly, I can't give too much reference, but I have heard a lot of bad things, and I did research a lot of these guns, and I went on, Evike, Airsoft, and all Airsoft GI and all of them, and I looked up HFC guns, and like the highest rated ones only had 3 stars. And so as you can see, a lot of them, I mean, yes, they're cheap pistols, but still, for the problems you're going to have, you should just go for, instead of a $90 HFC pistol, get a $120 Elite Force M1911, and you will not be satisfied, or dissatisfied, I should say. Sorry about that. Before I unveil number 1, I just want to talk about the last 2 that I did, because they were kind of quick. Now, the first one, Well, of course, I've had a lot of experience with it. Now, I'm not saying all Well products are very bad. I know, like I said, the JG Bar 10 that they make, the short barrel G-Spec version, is amazing. The bullet will fly probably about 200 feet, maybe 150. I'm being a little generous, but it will be pinpoint straight, where the Well L96 will curve, and it doesn't even have that good of a range. Now, the one thing I also do hate about Well is they make it a clone of Tokyo Marui guns, but because of licensing issues, they'll have to change the parts so they won't be VSR compatible, but they'll be as close as can be, so it really will tick some people off. And now with HFC, I can honestly not say a lot, just I've heard, they have very reasonable guns, but at the same time, if you want to get a reasonable sidearm, you should probably get something else, because the purpose of a sidearm is to distract or take down a target because your primary is A, not working, or B, it is quicker to pull out your secondary, and if your secondary is very unreliable, then why do you even bother having it? So, we're now going to talk about number one. Number one. Okay, guys, so this brand should not be proud because it's number one. This took the cake for the worst brand ever, and of course, it is UK Arms. Now, my problem with UK Arms is A, they're extremely cheap. Yes, they're reasonable, but they're so cheap that they don't put anything into their guns. Their guns are overall horrible, and basically, my biggest problem with them is just stupid stuff. For instance, the picture you're about to see is one of their guns. This looks very nice, you're probably thinking, cool lines, got some tactical coolness to it, but that is not even the real scale. Now you're probably thinking, what do you mean, it's a picture? No, what I mean is it is not a one-to-one scale of the real rifle. They didn't even try. It is actually pretty small. It's about as big as an M4 when that real gun is huge, and it should be big as probably a Barrett Snow Wolf. Now, the other thing is, that gun is actually only shooting about 200 feet per second. It's about $40, and you can't mod them. So really, they're a bunch of Springer guns. Now, they do make a couple AEGs, I think, don't quote me on this, and they do make a couple, quote-unquote, better spring rifles, like ones you can actually play with, but I would not trust them, because unlike, well, you have a chance to mod it, or you have a chance to, actually work with it, but these are the farthest thing from airsoft. These are the beginner of the beginner. This is something that a kid sees at Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods, and overall they're just horrible. They're too cheap, and they don't put any effort into their guns. Now, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was my first countdown, and I really enjoyed making it. So make sure to like that, hit that like button, and tell me, guys, in the comments if you want me to do more of these. I actually thought I did pretty good on this, but if you have any suggestions, like actually getting a manly voice to do the numbering, because that was me if you couldn't tell. But alright, guys, hope you have an awesome night, and peace.